We are definitely live. So did you hit live?
It's happening. Yeah, it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live.
Cool.
And we should be on any moment.
We're checking. Yeah.
It looks like it's loading. Are we there?
We're live.
Oh, wow. Okay. I wonder why I don't.
Live. Yay.
Hi, everybody. Yes, there we are. I see us now. Fantastic. Hi, Tirza.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to, before we get started, I want to thank you again for joining me. You're my first guest on my first.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. And it's such an honor to be your first as well. So
thank you. And just so everybody knows, Tirza, where are you right now?
I'm in Germany, just outside Cologne. And we've got a dusting of snow.
Yeah, we have snow here too. I mean, but we had more than a dusting. We have a lot of snow here in New York.
Yeah, you've been shoveling like crazy, haven't you? You told me.
Yeah. I try to do my part when I can. Yeah. So it's winter, it's cold, so it's 4 o'clock here. And what time is it by you?
It's 10 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's pretty late. It's pretty late.
That's okay. Night owl.
There we go. So I'm just gonna give it a few. You are a night owl, right?
I am totally. Yeah. If I'm left to my own devices, I turn into a vampire. Really.
I imagine that's when you do the majority of your writing.
Yes, you imagine right there.
Is that correct? I think that's a great time to write.
Yeah.
Do you
Afternoons and evenings is my time. Mornings, I'm just. This morning I woke up early and I just sat in my reading armchair and I just read some stuff.
I was going to ask you that too, if you ever write
there behind me.
There. Oh wow! Look at that. That's your writing.
That's my little cove, and there's my armchair with the blanket.
With your blanket.
So it's all warm and snuggly and.
I love it. That's a good place to read. That's a good place to write. That's a good place to take notes. So now I just have a question, because since I've never done this before and I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. How can I see if anybody is viewing or if anybody has logged on? Okay,
you can see when you're viewing, there's a little eye on top when you look at the video on your page, on your Facebook page. And it says the people who are viewing at the side there.
Let's see.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. There we go.
Okay. I clicked chat. So
we've got two now. I can see it. So
okay. Can someone say hello so we know who's there? Because this is my first time. So I just want to make sure that everything goes smooth, and I want to make sure.
The two people is probably us at the moment. I've actually tagged, and I'm also going to share out this to my profile. Oh, Josephine is here and says hello. Hello.
Hey, Josephine.
Thank you for joining us.
Perfect.
And Joseph, that's brilliant. Josephine and Joseph.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Hey, lovely.
That is perfect.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
See, now where are you seeing?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Let me see.
Okay.
Josephine. Okay. And I see you tagged Wilson, India. Okay.
Yeah.
So now
she's my best friend. She lives in the UK, just outside London.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
yeah,
so
I
guess we'll expect her soon.
Because I haven't seen her in so long because of the lockdown and everything. And
I know everything is so, life itself is so different. Well, I do want to say hi. I do want to say hi to Josephine, and I do want to say hi to Joseph. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. So Tirza, you have written many books, and I have to say I am super impressed. How many books have you written?
Well, I've published 30, but they are more in the making, and I've got some long-term projects as well, which are kind of running on the side, and I get back to whenever I, feel like it and have a little bit of time.
That is really phenomenal. So what is the title of your first all your books are self-published, correct?
Yes, they're all self-published. I did have offers from various publishing houses, but I never liked the terms and conditions, so I always declined, and I didn't do that. So
Right. No, I totally understand. A lot of
yeah.
people like to go the self-published route. You get more royalties, you have more creative control over your work.
Yeah, and what I was thinking, if they don't take on anything of my marketing, which is really where my weak spot is personally, which I find very difficult, and if they don't help me with that, and I have to do all the work and still give them like half or more than half of the profits, I don't really see,
It's
if, you know,
the
that.
benefit, right? The
Yeah,
benefit
no,
there.
yeah.
So that's a good topic though, marketing, because indie authors, that's a big problem with them. No one really is familiar with marketing. They don't know how to market their own work. Do you have any advice? You said that's a weak spot for you, but do you have anything to share in that area or no?
Well, the thing is, making personal connections and presenting yourself as a person so people can relate to you, people feel like, share of yourself. And I tend to not do it too much either,
Mhm.
because I'm not somebody who follows celebrity news and all that. It's like, yes, I have friends, and of course, I'm always happy to support other authors as well, like colleagues or whatever. But at the
Yeah, you
same
are a big
time, I'm
supporter.
not somebody who's going through social media and reading up on, who eats what for breakfast or something, but a lot of people actually like that, and they feel closer to you that way, like they know you better, and then they're also more forgiving if they read a book of you that they maybe haven't liked so much, and say, oh, well, maybe the next one's going to be better because I liked the one before. If you don't know
Right.
the person, you might just write them off and say, no, I didn't like that, so I'm not going to read her again.
Right. Well, sometimes, yeah, I do agree. I think it's good to make some kind of connection because also as writers, we're readers ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you want to know after you read something, whether it captivated you or maybe you weren't such a fan of it, but you want to give that author a chance. If you have some kind of, if you know something about them as a person or their personality, or you've seen them, like now we're on Zoom. This is
Yeah.
also a good way to, get your name out there or your work out there, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes readers would like to see and know the author and sometimes even have like a little chit chat back and forth. But
Yeah.
you are very supportive with the indie community, I really have to say.
Thank
You
you.
get a lot of work out there that is not just yours. You're very active. You
Yeah, I mean,
share.
I don't, quite frank, I don't want to see a feed by somebody else who's just going like me, look at me. Most people don't have 30 books or something that they can turn over even. So they might have one or two, and there's only so much you can captivate people with one or two books, isn't it? I mean, what you want to write about. So it's a lot nicer to have like different things. And because I also work in the spiritual community as well, which is like I'm having two parts. So I have a lot of people in the spiritual community who are not into steamy romance like what I write mainly as books, and but they love, for example, JC's Angels and Demons trilogy, or your women's literature, your Smoke Tree, and that, so they might be more comfortable with that and love that kind of writing more. So um, I give others more exposure with that one. People come to me to see, okay, who else has she there next? So that's good
Right.
for me as well, that I've got a variety of people looking. And when
Yes.
somebody else shares my stuff and writes a review for me in return or something, I benefit from that as well, obviously, So we help each other, I will always support people, but when I feel like somebody is a taker and just, takes for themselves and goes like, oh, thank you, like,
Mm,
do you want to review my third book as well? And it's like, why don't you review one of mine then in turn?
right. Well, it takes
Yeah,
a village, that's for
yeah,
sure. And
exactly.
we're a community of writers, we're a community of independent
Mm,
writers, and it's really good to
yeah.
just get to know other writers because we can bounce ideas off of each other and we constantly learn. I feel like we constantly learn so much from each
Yeah.
other. And for you, who has self-published 30 books, you have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge to share because you have a lot of experience in that area because you have written, self-published some, you've written more books, but you've self-published so many books. So I really think that's phenomenal. And we never, there's always something to learn, right? Don't you think?
Absolutely. And I was so fortunate as well. For example, I'm in a group where you are in as well, the Writers Vision, where we all support each other. And there's also bloggers and editors in there and that. So I was so fortunate to be invited to take part in a writing class. And I learned so much from that because of my financial situation as such, being a single mom on benefits, because I'm disabled, that I wasn't able to have an editor ever. I had to do it all on my own. And
that's amazing.
do writing classes and all that. So because of that, and because of my own reading that I'm doing, of course, I read books as well as write them. So if you read my books like in the chronological order, you can really see how that development goes on a personal as well as a writing level. And that's the way it should be. My first book shouldn't be as great as like the last one or something. Otherwise, there's no learning curve in it, isn't it? So that's a good thing. And I'm very, very grateful to have had this opportunity. And of course, I'll be just giving back as much as I can and paying it forward as well for the newbies who have questions, So I've had to rely on people helping me as well. So if somebody says, can you show me how to do this and that? And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, I think the other writers, the other indie authors and the writing community is very kind. When I was self-publishing my first book, I had multiple questions. You just don't want to throw anything out there. And I turned to the writing community, for help. Would you read this piece? Would you read this chapter? Could you read my blurb? And I really got some great information that I learned things to look for. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like not to use this or not to use that, or why these words don't fit. Like it's really, it's a process. And when you're first starting out, the experience of the other writers really.
Have writers around me, so I had to learn it all by myself. I was, I didn't have that blessing at the time. I was only involved in the spiritual community, and so nobody then knew anything about it. And back 10 years ago, it wasn't like when I just dared to blog my first couple of poems and people said, oh, you should publish and whatever. I was like, no, I'm not good enough. So I didn't have the confidence, but also I didn't know how. And it wasn't as easy as it is nowadays. I mean, you just go on Kindle, you put in a Word document, and of course you have to format it. And that was something I had to learn as well. But then, you just go with it and that's it,
Well, it's wonderful that we can do that now because a long time ago we couldn't do that. And everything was traditionally published back then. Yes. Right? Because there was no Amazon, there was no Kindle, and now we have such an opportunity to get our work out there. So I know a lot of writers in the beginning, when they're first starting out, they're not sure what to write about, or they're not sure, what steps to take. But I'm sure you would agree with me, the one step and the first step is just write. Yes. Right? Just write, and everything else comes after. And I know also to set up, like I was told to start setting up, social media ahead of time to tell people I'm writing a book, which I did not do. So did you happen to do that in the beginning, or with your first book, there was no social media like it is today?
There weren't any groups yet. It only started afterwards, I think, or roundabout at the time with even having Facebook pages.
It's really such a big help, right?
Yeah, so that's a big help. And I had some help as well with finding like people on Fiverr to do formatting and all that, because I really didn't know, especially with poetry, there is so much formatting involved, which is why I've only got my poetry. There are 2 books. Let me just show you quickly. Actually.
Yes, let's see. I would love that.
So there you go. There's two of them. So this here, my spirit song, that's the one that is spiritual actually. And that wasn't the first one, but the first one kind of got split up in those two and is, you know, and there's some more now added to all that. And the second one, Love Expressed, is romantic and sensual, and you know, from sweetly romantic to steamy.
I love those covers. So you
Thank you.
you designed the covers yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You've
Because
done everything
I found
yourself.
that
So
designers are so expensive, and then it was also in the beginning when you had a print book, you had to get that PDF thing. And once you change something about the manuscript, you have to change the PDF again. So you have to hope that your graphic designer is still around on Fiverr.
oh my
Or when they
gosh.
were not, you know, things like that. So it was just, and it was costing way too much money that I didn't have, you know. So I was like, yeah,
what a process.
yeah. And I went through, I think with the old books, I had, I think maybe 5 or 6 different covers until I arrived at this one. I started on them I did the covers last year. I was like, now I'm going to do all my own covers, and I'm going to do them in a way that everybody can see they are mine.
They are
So,
yours, yeah.
you know,
And they're
so they're all
gorgeous.
white like this with the title. You've got something here, you know, like a symbol or whatever. There's one with a person as well, but usually it's some kind of symbol or artwork.
It's gorgeous. And I
Yeah.
just want to say, since you're holding up that book, I noticed
Yeah.
Wilson India is with us. Hi, Wilson India.
Yeah, she's written the foreword to my traveling book. I don't have
Wow.
here, but yeah, she's done that.
Well, I think it's fabulous. She said Spirit Song, my all-time fave. So I
Yeah.
know we're doing giveaways today.
Yeah.
So Wilson India will be the recipient of a giveaway today because she has read one of your books. So congratulations, congratulations to Wilson India. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And after the show, I will reach out to you about the giveaway. And
Yeah.
also, our first comment was, if I'm not mistaken, if I could go back and find it, the first person to join us today was Josephine. Is Josephine still with us? Josephine Wrightson. Okay. Do you see her on there, Tirza?
She is.
Josephine,
Yeah.
did we lose you? We may have lost Josephine, but Josephine was the first one to come on and she was the first one to comment. So Josephine also is going to be a recipient of the giveaway today. So, and I will contact her after the show. So that's 2 so far. I know we have a lot to cover, so I really don't want to stop talking about your books, but I did want to just say that Wilson India loves Spirit Song. So I think
her first name is India, so you can just use
it's backward. Okay,
India. Outside of London that I really miss and I want to visit again with my children. So.
Oh, sorry about that, India.
We miss each other dearly, yes.
Well, that's a wonderful thing, and that's lovely that she reads your books. So how many poems would you say, do you know offhand, are in those books? Approximately?
The romantic one is 66 because I was thinking about how many I'm going to put in there if I was going to put a number or something. And then I decided on 66 because in the tarot, because of spiritual as well. So there you go. Tarot, the number 6 of the major arcana is the Lovers. And of course, 6 poems wouldn't be enough for a book, would it? So I just doubled that because, you know, you need to have 2 lovers. So I just put 66 poems and I thought that would be a great number.
I think, I agree. I think that is a great number. And you are spiritual and you have a lot going on with that. So how did that come to be? When did you find an interest?
Well, I've even had it as a child, but here in Germany, where I come from, it was very traditional. So it was really, my family is like, the background is Catholic, but my parents' generation, through the hippie movement, that kind of left the church, basically. But I decided as a child I wanted to be baptized and go to Holy Communion because all I knew was that, or Protestant, or, you know, like Muslim, which I've only seen like women in the heat of summer being like all wrapped up in trench coats and headscarves and whatever, so that was too alien for me. I couldn't relate to that because we went on holiday to nude beaches and that. So, that
Yeah,
was
that's
too much
totally
of a
different.
culture clash for me. I was like, no. And I just looked at it from outside. I didn't know anything about the religion either. So, it's like no value judgment attached to it. It was just too alien to me at the time, just seeing that. And
So your spirituality, that
yeah.
also brings out your writing, correct?
It does, and it kind of comes into it as well, because apart from the like spiritual literature I've got as well, but I write about goddesses, which are mainly on my website, gods, power animals, tarot, little bit, and a friend of mine, she's a crystal healer. She writes about that, and I have different topics as well. I do like a monthly oracle card reading. I used to do a weekly one, but that was getting too much, so I decided to make it a monthly now.
Right.
And I have like spiritual offers on my website as well, services that I offer. So
I have seen that, and we're going to post the links. We'll post the links again too.
yeah.
For anyone that's interested, I highly recommend that you check it out. Tirza has some really wonderful information that she shares, wonderful stories, experiences, and you're also on Medium.
I'm on Medium as well, exactly, which is great fun because I was there years and years ago, but I left it again. It was because at the time it was all about current affairs and politics.
Oh, okay. So that changed.
Technology stuff, so I was like, oh no, everything I'm not, so I left that, but then I got told it's totally changed now. There's a lot of authors on there, so creative people on that.
Yeah.
So I went back on it, and it's great fun, people seem to like what I'm writing, so
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's not familiar with Tirza's work on Medium, I suggest that you check her out on Medium and clap, right? Because that's how it goes on Medium.
Yeah.
You like the article.
Yeah, clapping is like liking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like liking on Facebook. So tell me, the last book that you self-published, which one is that? Tell us that.
The very last one, which I haven't got here because I haven't actually got the print copy myself yet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The one that you self-published, though, not the one you're working on, the one that you self-published.
No, that I've self-published is A Very Little Christmas. And there's a Christmas tree with a grizzly bear sitting in front and having this kind of a little bit stupid, hollow self-expression on his face, like.
I've seen it online. I know. What does that mean? I've seen that. Tell us about that cover.
Well, that's actually is a Christmas story, and it's my very first shifter romance that I've written. I've never written something with shifters and that paranormal. I'm a very contemporary person. I put a little bit of my spirituality in there as well, but it's just like it's more visions and things, So, but
where did you get that idea? What made you switch over and into another genre? I'm curious.
I like to experiment. That's really it. I like to try something new, and everything was I was supposed to keep on writing on 2 series I was really involved with, and that didn't work. I was trying and trying, deleting again what I just written all the time, and it just wouldn't move forward. Last year, you will agree with me, was for everybody like really crazy. So I was no exception. So I thought, okay, let's try something completely different.
Completely different.
Different. And then I went into my daughter's room, and she had her stuffed toy bear in her arm. I was like, I'll write a bear shifter story. That's it.
Wow. See how ideas sometimes just come to you? I just want you to know, I do have that book. It's on my to be read list. So I do have that book with the Christmas tree and the bear. I thought it was really an interesting cover, that's for sure.
So everybody thought it was a kiddie's cover. And actually, my daughter, she's 13, and she helped me design it as well.
Oh, I think I mentioned that to you too, and you were like, "Oh no, this is."
I always tell her the stories like in a child-friendly version,
Oh yeah.
All the sexy bits, of course, but she knows they're in there. But I tell her the child-friendly version, and she's like, this is really so nice. You don't need any sex in that, Mama. Can you make another?
Well, you do have a story though, like the family goes on a trip.
Yeah, that is a Magic Family Holidays where India wrote the forward for it. And that actually happened. We went on that trip to the Eifel. And my mom's former colleague, and also she's her best friend, she and her husband, they own an old farmhouse there that they've kind of converted back in the 70s, and it's still very rustic and all that. So, and we were always allowed to go there whenever we liked, for holiday as well. And so we've always been going for a week here and there. And at the time, I went with my mom and my two daughters because my dad and my son went with my dad's other friends on a sailing trip. So it was just the girls,
Oh,
And
nice. That's nice.
yeah, and there's no Wi-Fi there. And that time, there wasn't like outside internet either and all that. So it was, a few years back. And I didn't have the technology for it anyway either. So my friends told me, oh, you have to write everything down that you're experiencing there, what you're doing and all that. So, so you can tell us about it afterwards, So I faithfully every night I wrote down what happened each day,
Yeah, like kept like a
And they
little
were, like,
diary or a
reading
journal.
that. Yeah, they were reading that. I was like, oh, that's so great. You need to publish this, So
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
how that happened.
I think that is a wonderful idea. And when talking about ideas, where did you get the ideas for your other stories from? I know you
That's
have.
all different. That's all different. That can be from like Snake Goddess Rising is my first romance novel. And my second power animal that came to me, my first one from childhood is Jaguar. And my second one that came to me in my early 20s is Cobra. So I have a lot of visions with cobras, like with my power animals. I do meditations and stuff, and they pop up.
Right.
Anyway, we have interaction. So um, that, and together with my love for India and Bollywood, the country, and Bollywood movies, and with Shah Rukh Khan and all that. And I thought, okay, let's see, Cobra Goddess in India.
Wow.
That was Manasa. So the subtitle is Manasa's Chosen One.
Very interesting. And let me ask you this, when you start writing and you're describing your characters, do you see them vividly and clear, or are they a blur to you?
They're totally there. That they're like people, and I just write along. They act everything out, and I just watch and write along. So that's really, it's like a mind movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
pretty
really
much.
cool. So you know what color hair they have, you know the color of their eyes.
Yeah.
So describing the characters, that's not a problem for you.
No, not at all. Although I don't go so much into detail with descriptions. Well, first of all, I've always been writing for myself. I've only published in 2015. So I never beforehand thought about somebody else is going to read it, and I'd have to, explain myself to somebody who can't see that,
Right.
So I kind of had to learn, okay, I have to make that come to life for people who can't see what I'm seeing once I started. But then also, I like to kind of have the balance of, giving you like a visual, but also not too much, so you can have your own imagination into it, because I've read books and it's gone so much into detail that I thought, oh my God, it's like I don't care what color socks in the corner or something, It's like that's not part of the story.
There's a limit on how much description is too much description.
Yeah, or
you have to leave.
Yeah, even
you
with
have to
a
leave something up.
one detail they're describing, and that really rubs me up the wrong way. Just it has happened when I've read a story, and the story was great, the character was great, but there was this one thing that author kept insisting on bringing up. It was just one small detail about the character. I was like, if I hadn't known that, but that was really irking me all the way through the book. So it's like, I'm not going to do that.
All the way through the story. So
Yeah.
now that's a good example of how we pick up things.
Taste, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
too
there
much
was nothing
description.
wrong with that, but everybody has a different taste, isn't it? So I like to leave a bit of, having said that, you don't find many white men in my books.
Okay,
So
okay.
a couple here and there, but mainly it's like, more southern.
So when you describe, since you mentioned that, so when you describe the characters, do you describe maybe skin tone
Yeah.
or eye shape or and stuff like that? Okay,
Yeah, I
so
do
that
like,
way,
or I say like, like when they're ethnic, or I say like, they're black or maybe Hispanic, and you kind of, you have that kind of idea what they look like, isn't it? So I don't go too much into detail like with almond eyes or something because somebody doesn't like almond eyes and prefer cat's eyes, or, you never know. So
right, yeah. I know,
like,
I know, I know I have read that many readers say a lot of characters, maybe too many characters, have blue eyes and have green eyes. I've heard that before. A lot of
yeah.
characters they find when they read books. So it's good to, I guess, change the eye color around
Yeah,
and
and I mean, I personally, my children are half black, so that shows my personal preference anyway. It's like not just black, but anything that's darker than me is good. I'm happy about that. So because I think, if I want somebody blonde, and white, like really white, I'm very white, and I look at my skin. So
now, well, you know
it's
what
like
is you
I just
can't you
stand in
can't
front of the
tell.
mirror, isn't it?
You can't see. You're coloring. You don't look pale or anything like that because I
Yeah, I've
guess
got makeup now.
the lighting is very nice.
Yeah, but I
I
mean,
look white as a
this is,
ghost.
yeah.
I look way whiter than you right now. My lighting is just very light. So let me ask you this. Do you ever write with accents or anything like that? Do you ever,
No,
or,
I find that too tedious to write and read it. I mean, it's like certain accents that I'm familiar with, like for example, when I read a Highlander story and they write in kind of a Scottish accent, that's cool for me because I'm familiar with that. I lived 10 years in the UK, so but if you have like something which is more like, for example, Aussie, and there's a lot of idioms that I'm not familiar with, and sayings and things like that, so expressions, and I'm like, what the hell.
right? Sometimes
But
it
it's a
can,
bit
yeah,
difficult.
it can get difficult.
Yeah,
I just wanna go to the comments for a
yeah,
second,
please,
just to
exactly.
make sure. And I actually think that you can see the comments, Tirza, better than I can for some reason. So
Yeah, let
I
me go
just want
through
to
that.
I just want to remind everyone that this is my first interview, so I maybe am having a little bit of a problem viewing the comments. So I just don't want to miss anything. So I don't know if anybody asked a question that we haven't answered. I know Joseph had asked, what's
Yeah,
Medium?
of course, Medium. Go to medium.com. It's like a platform for people writing articles in all kind of directions, genres, and that.
It
So
is very interesting, that's for
yeah,
sure.
if you go
And
to my website, tirzaschaefer.com, in the header of the website, which is on every single page, there's all my social media connections. You can just, click on the icon and that'll take you to my profile there. So, there's a Medium one as well, which is a big M. Can't miss that.
And as a matter of fact, that's how I found out because you were writing on Medium. That's how I found out about Medium because I
Yeah.
didn't even know about Medium. And it's a creative outlet and it's a way to find new authors and to read some really interesting stories. You're
Yeah,
really
and
cute.
there's a lot of things like journalists and people who are into IT, tech stuff, and whatever, current affairs and politics as well. That's how it started more. So yeah. Oh, and Josephine said she's still there.
Hey, Josephine. Oh, yeah. Well, that I did see. For some reason,
Yeah.
my comments are not moving. And I was asking, where's
Okay.
Josephine? I don't see Josephine because it's like
Yeah.
stuck. So hopefully by my next interview, I'll figure out how to roll those. But you have been such a help to me because we did a little bit of practicing. So I
Mhm.
have to thank you for that
Yeah.
because when you're not familiar with doing it, I mean, it can't, there's a lot. So unfortunately, I can't roll the comments. So I'm very sorry. So if I miss somebody's comments, definitely
We'll
my,
go, yeah, but also Facebook doesn't always show all the comments, so there might be more and they're not all showing. And excuse me.
ooh, bless
Okay,
you,
sorry, I
bless
had
you.
to sneeze there for a moment. So the thing is, we will get back and go through everything again, and you know, comment and reply to your comments afterwards as well. So you know, don't think you've kind of
Definitely.
missed your chance.
Yeah,
Just because
definitely. And there'll be,
yeah.
yep, and there'll be a couple more giveaways, and Tirza is going to catch up with the comments. I'll catch up with the comments.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And India just said she shared this live on MeWe on her new holistic page, which has so
oh,
far already 40 plus followers. Wow,
oh,
brilliant. Yeah. Thank
that's
you for
wonderful.
blessing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
Melvin. Hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Melvin is on.
Yeah.
Hi, Melvin. I'm going to
Mhm.
see if I can view that. I don't know why I
Yeah.
can't. I'm really sorry, guys,
It's
why I
just
cannot.
hello. So it's just one word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Melvin. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. So now, when did you know that you wanted to become an author? When did you know you were going to write a book?
Um, Well, I've always told stories. Even before I could read and write, I told my sister bedtime stories. So I've always been a storyteller. And then, you know, my parents, like especially my mom, she's a teacher, so very intellectual
Mm,
and all that. And also, you know, we were taught from small on in the Nazi era, you know, certain books were burnt, they were thrown on a pile and burnt and all that. You must never do that. Books are sacred and all that. So I've grown up with, like, you know, I mean, like other people have a cross hanging. For us, the bookshelf was the altar, like
was
that. It was like a
yeah,
religious worship, really. You know, books bring knowledge. They're good for your imagination. They make you intelligent and all that. You know, and
me
give you
too.
education
We
and that.
always had we always had books in my house too.
Yeah.
So what was your best subject in school? Was it reading or spelling, or did you create a lot of stories in class?
We only created stories, very few, and like in the first couple of years or something, and after that it was just writing summaries and things like that, and analyzing stuff and so on. So our school system at the time wasn't very creative,
Okay.
unfortunately.
So as far as structure, writing structure goes, would you credit that to the books that you read that
Absolutely,
help?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because there is a way, when we write, you know, to write a book, to write a story, that, when they say reading is important, I feel like reading is very important because there's a certain way to write a story. And even
Yeah.
though you write your stories in your voice, the way you write them, there is a certain, we have to follow something to make it all fit together. And when we read it in our head to make sense.
Yeah,
So
it has
you
to
don't,
be that kind of an arc in there, and of course it can have little subplots and, you know, and highlights and climaxes in between and that, but basically it's an arc, isn't it? So unless you have a cliffhanger in
have you?
it.
So you would say really you're self-taught. You're a self-taught writer
Yes,
from your
absolutely.
reading and
Yeah,
from your interests and your love of
absolutely.
writing.
Yeah, I had nobody to support this. My family thought it was a waste of time and you can never make anything of yourself, and you know, the typical stuff. Germans are
I
very
hear.
security orientated, and like you have to have a proper job, like employment with a regular paycheck and all that. And, you know, so then I came home from London pregnant, and now I've got 3 kids. My
And
body
30
is kind of
books.
half crippled, and I can't do anything else anyway. So, you know, I either sit on the couch and watch daily soaps, like this horrible stuff, or I can be of service to humankind and write books, and you know,
And
and
write books. What a
be a
wonderful way.
spiritual teacher as well, the coach, you know, which I do as well. So, and that actually helps more people. So I think I'll prefer that to watching reality TV.
And what a wonderful way to spend your time, creating stories and using your imagination and sharing those stories with other people. I mean, you have a lot of books, you have a lot of readers. I think it's fantastic. You're self-taught. And then you had mentioned something about 2015. Did you say that was when you first self-published?
Yeah, that was in March. That was my first that poetry book that I told you about. That is that I've taken out again because I've split those between the two other books now that I've got. That was my very first book in March 2015.
So that is that's almost 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So you self-published 30 books in 6 years.
Yeah, but you have to take 2 years out of that because I had a massive burnout and I had some family issues and things going on. So a bit before and a bit after that, um, I wasn't able to work because of those circumstances, and
Was
my
that
health
2 years in
issues.
a row? Was that 2 consecutive years, 2 years in a row that you
Yeah,
didn't write, or would you
it
break it
was.
up and
No, it was in consecutive years. So last year it was 2020 was my recovery year really from my burnout. Um, and so that's what, and everything went topsy-turvy anyway. I planned to write a lot more books last year than I actually did. I only had, hang on, 4, I think 4 books last year, 5, 4, 5, not
that
many.
you
For me, it's like, in a year, like, I don't know, 12 books.
you're losing track. So
Yeah.
you're doing so many books, you're losing track. So wait, let me get this straight. Did you say in a year you self-published 12 books or you
Yeah, I
wrote
did
12
before.
books?
Yeah, I did
What?
before.
In a
Like 10,
year?
12. Yeah,
That's a book a month.
yeah.
You
But
self-published
yeah,
12 books.
yeah, but I've got a few smaller ones which are novellas,
Wow.
and those ones, I wrote like 3 in a month or something. So that
When
was.
the heck do you sleep, Tirza? On that chair with the blanket? Like, what do you
But
take? What? Little cat naps or something like that? And then you
I
get
do
up and
fall
you,
asleep.
you start writing again? Like,
I do now,
like,
but I do now. But I was a workaholic, and that was part of my burnout as well. Apart from like having other issues, with like teenage kids and family things and
right,
whatever.
being a
But
parent and yeah, just
so,
life in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that was a lot going on, but it was definitely when I wasn't doing my work here, I was doing housework and looking after the kids and spending time with them and cooking and whatever, and
Right. So let me ask you
helping them
this.
with homework.
Say you're spending time with the kids
Yeah,
or you're cooking, and all of a sudden you get this idea in
yeah,
your head about a book or a story or about
yeah,
something that a character is going to do. What
yeah.
do? Do you say, hold on, kids, wait a minute, I got to go write this down? Or do you shut the stove if you cook? Like, how do you, when you get what you feel is something, really important that you have to retain, how do you do it?
Yeah, either I quickly jot it down, like in a few bullet points, so that will jog my memory when I look at it, or I just I always have my phone on me when I'm around the house, so I, just press the voice record button and then do it that way.
And do you write your stuff down? Like, are your drafts on pen and paper, or do you type directly into the laptop or the computer? What do you do?
Well, the first ones, most of them actually, they were pen and paper. And then I kind of started going over on when my books got a lot longer as well. I started going over on typing directly because it's just so much work to
But
type up.
did you
Because,
find that transition was a little difficult though when you were because I too am
yeah,
from pen and paper times. There were no laptops, there were no computers. So anytime I would write, everything was pen and paper.
yes.
So then when we did get a computer and we did get a laptop, it was difficult for me to sit with the keyboard and look at the screen and type. I felt like I wasn't writing. It was like a weird, it was just weird. But
Yeah,
writing is
I still
exhausting.
have to write by hand. When I can't get further, then I take my pen and paper out, then I start writing on paper because that has a different quality. I'm more used to writing, to typing now, but when I get stuck somewhere, then I go back to writing by hand, and then I, when I'm back into the flow, then I copy that type it up, and then I keep on typing. So
wow, and that's like double work. And writing though writing is pretty exhausting. Like when you write it, pen and paper, right? Your hand gets really tired. And then I don't know about you, but as time goes
I
on,
was an athlete. I was writing 16 hours a day. So
oh my gosh, wow. That
it was
is
like Olympic gold here.
that is a lot. Olympic gold. You are amazing. So and when you published your first book, when you wrote, okay, so the first book you published was not the first story that you ever wrote.
No,
correct? Or was the first story you ever wrote the story you actually self-published first?
The first one I self-published was Snake Goddess Rising, which was my ode to Bollywood.
But was that the first story you ever wrote that you even hand wrote? Or was that something that you just 2015 rolled around and you were like, I'm writing this book?
I wrote that particular story in 2012, but then on paper, and then I looked through my stuff and thought, oh, that was a story that was cool. I can publish that. So I rewrote a lot of it because, a lot wasn't that nice.
And what manner do you mean that a lot of it wasn't that nice? It wasn't.
Well, first of all, as I said before, like a lot of descriptive things were missing. The sexual parts, they were quite innocent, and I wanted to spice that up. And when I write for myself, I think myself a lot of stuff with it, but that it was for an audience, so I was like, okay, let's pimp this up and give it some more steam as well. And and just generally like the whole editing process I've never done before, because
so how
it was for me before. So even like when you kind of write in bed and then you go to sleep and the sentence doesn't really make any sense anymore,
yeah.
because you write
or the writing seems to
all the way downhill like that.
You have ink on your sheet, you have ink on your arm because you were writing, it's on your hand.
Yeah, everywhere, even in my face.
And then you look at them and you're like, where's that book idea I had? Then you look in the mirror and you go, oh, there it is. So much oh my God. Well, you write so many stories and so many different stories. So what have you covered so far? You said you just did your first shapeshifter book.
Yes.
Right.
Well, then there was the Bollywood thing where the goddess Manasa appears as well in visions for the female lead character. Then we have mainly really I've done one historical romance because that was my second one, because I needed to, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice is like nothing can ever get close to that one for me. I love this book.
That's a classic.
Yeah, the film with Colin Firth, the 4 parts.
Yes.
When that first came out, I had it on video, on VHS videos. So they were after a year, they were like so totally, kaput. Like totally broken. I had to keep buying new ones until we had, I can still quote you passages from that. Like,
wow.
Yeah, and
so
I was obsessed with that. I really was. So I had to let that out and write my own kind of, historical romance, Regency thing. So yeah.
And what is the title of that book?
That is The Dark Duke.
The Dark Duke.
Yeah, because he always wears dark stuff, and he has a dark, people think he has like this dark, sinister side. And
I like that.
Yeah,
I like the
funny
way that
enough,
works.
when I just watched Bridgerton, some aspects that I wrote in my Dark Duke is also in the Duke of Hastings.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't watched Bridgerton. I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's got some dark aspects from his past and that as well. So
so you're saying your book, the book that you wrote already, is similar to what is out now on Netflix? What is that on Netflix?
Yeah,
or what is Bridgerton?
That character. I wouldn't put it in the same category because it was only my second book. So obviously, I was still experimenting very much. But it, like, some of the characteristics of that male character was really very similar, and I was like, yeah, that's probably why I liked him so much as well. Bridgerton, like that guy, he's just so
I hear a lot of good things about that
You
show.
need to watch that.
I hear a lot of good things about that show. And
Yeah.
so, okay, so then you have your
Brilliant.
Bollywood, historical, and then
Yeah.
you moved on to what was next?
Military.
Wow. And is that where Tank comes in?
That as well, yeah. And
Ah,
he's one of, well, he is really is they, because it's a trilogy, but it's a reverse harem. That means there's 3 men to 1 woman, and the 3 men are called Tank, Dom, and Seb. So they
ah.
each will have a book called after them. So Tank is already out, which is here. There you go.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. And also another cover created by you,
Yeah, and I'm gonna
right?
have
Which is
that as a tattoo as well, because Tank is like my favorite of all times, like which is closest to my heart. So
you
that's
have that
gonna be it.
tattoo? You
No,
have that
I
tattoo?
want to. But at the moment you can't tattoo. I don't have the money for it either. But I also have to find a tattoo artist who doesn't use heavy metal in the ink. You know, so
Oh, okay. But tell us a little bit about Tank. Where did you get the idea? It's
um,
for him specifically. Like, where did you get
yeah.
that from?
Okay.
Oh, that puts a big smile on your face, Tirza.
Yeah.
I think we're
I'm
getting something
totally.
here.
I mean, I'm totally in love with all 3, with like really all my characters, you know, because I always write them in a way that I could fall in love with them. But Tank in particular, and even the 3 of them, they're very dear to my heart, because they're kind of my favorites on steroids. And Tank really is, if I could like be God and just fashion a man for myself, that would be Tank.
It would be Tank.
Yeah, because
Wow, look at
usually I
that.
write the characters so they suit each other, you know, the 2 people, and you know how they fit together, or more people, whatever, if it's a reverse harem. But this one is just Tank. That is really mine. That's my guy. You know, it's
That's
like
your
my
guy.
king, my everything. You know, it's like if you want to know
Yeah.
what kind of man I like, you read that book. You will
Pick
know.
up that book,
Yeah,
guys. Pick up that book,
absolutely.
Tank. You'll learn a lot about Tirza.
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting. And then, so from Tank, you moved on to,
Yeah, from Tank, I moved on to the MILF Diaries, which is, first one is Izzy here.
I like
And
that.
that's
Yeah. I
that was
love the
fun
white
because,
background.
thank you. Yeah, that, as I said, they're all like this, you know, with like the kind of a motive in the middle, you know.
Yeah,
And
just the
because I
pop.
think,
And then there's the
yeah,
pop of color with the plant. I
exactly. Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because she loves to cook, because she's half Italian. So her mother's side is Italian.
Oh, so is
There's
that
also got
basil?
some mafia in the family.
Is that basil on the cover?
Yes,
Is that a
exactly.
basil
That's
plant?
why. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why.
See, I know my
Uh,
husband's Italian, so I
oh
know
well,
my
there you
basil.
go.
I know my
And the
basil.
other half is Irish cop. So
Ah, oh, of Tank,
like,
you mean? Or
huh?
Izzy? Who's the other half Irish
Yeah,
cop? Izzy?
Izzy's dad
Izzy.
and the family, they're Irish cops really all. So it's like,
Ah,
so her dad actually arrested her mom's dad and put him into prison, but he fell in love with the mom at the same time. And then, you know, so they
oh
got
wow.
married in the end, and Izzy was born. So that's
Wow, I
Izzy's
like
background.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
And then that moves on to another
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, that's a reverse harem as well. This is a one-on-one. That's number 2 is Ria. She's one of the best friends of Izzy. And
Ah,
she is like this spiritual artist, which is very much head in the clouds, not very grounded. You know, when she speaks, when she has a conversation, she will say one thing, then she'll think another 7 things in her head, and then she'll the 8th thought that she has, she speaks out loud again. So people can't really follow that, and everybody thinks she's crazy, apart from her best friends, basically, you know. But she's got a heart of gold, and she really tries, but she needs a lot of me time and like peace and quiet
yeah,
and that as well. So she wouldn't be cool with like having 3 boisterous men around her all the time, which Izzy loves.
right. And
And
since she's very, you said she thinks of a lot of things, so maybe she's a little all over the place or high maintenance or whatever. That must have been a
yeah,
little difficult to write, or no? Did that come
no,
easy writing
she's
about
not
every
high
thought that was?
maintenance in that, because she's very artistic, and she's also very generous. She will always go when she meets her friends, she will have a little something as a gift for them, just because she loves giving gifts. And when she sees something, she immediately thinks, oh, this and that person would love that, and she just picks it up and that. And she might, like, she spent all her money on her friend's wedding and then had to ask her other friend if she could buy her some groceries to eat for the rest of the month, kind of thing.
Oh my God.
She doesn't think about the consequences for
Yeah.
herself. She just gives, So that is part of my personality, actually.
I was going to say,
I'm
sure
like
there's plenty of
that,
people. There's plenty of people like that. They don't think about tomorrow. They just think about the moment, or somebody needs something. Here, this is for you. And then tomorrow they're starving. They're like, here's my last loaf of bread. And then they wake up, you're like, I don't have anything to eat today.
Exactly. I had to learn it the hard way as well. So that comes from me. But Ria also has, like, she always got different hair colors, which is a friend of mine. Alisa Millermoon, she's actually a spiritual artist, a very talented one, and I love her dragons to pieces. And she always has different kind of colored hair, and that's where that idea came from. And but Alisa is very grounded. She's very earthy in that, very pragmatic. And Ria is totally head in the clouds, which is more like I am. I'm very much intellectual and brainy and nerdy, but like the other stuff I kind of was harder to learn and get used to.
Well, that's okay sometimes to have your head in the clouds. I think as an artist, sometimes as an artist, your head has to be in the clouds. You can't, you know what I mean? Because you have to be open to a lot of things. So now, as far as the name,
combining that with looking after family, you have, if you have 3 little kids, you have to be pragmatic, isn't it?
Well, you're well balanced. You're well balanced. Now,
it was a hard learning curve.
Right. Well, that's what happens. We learn, we live, and we learn, and we try to work. We have our strengths and we have our weaknesses, but somehow we make it work. So, and the name Ria, is that like short for Maria, or is Ria her actual name?
Well, it's Ariana, really.
Ariana.
But everybody calls her Ria, and she meets a male stripper who's like, the king of all male strippers, internationally famous and all that, but she hasn't got a clue. And first she meets him in a DIY store and thinks he's God. Then he gets a panic attack, and that's kind of how it all starts. But
what does he get? A panic attack?
A panic attack, yeah. And she kind of nurses him through it.
The stripper gets a panic attack.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because he's scared of sex.
That is an interesting story.
Because I was watching Magic Mike, like, again, as you do as a big woman, you have to have something to look at.
Another worn out DVD of yours, I'm sure. Right?
Not actually Netflix, but same.
Okay, Netflix. But if it was a DVD, if you did have it on DVD, it would be worn out, right? One of your favorites, I guess. It's entertaining.
No, I mean,
not one of your favorites.
The storyline is really stupid, let's face it. It's just the dancing, which is good.
Let's call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that movie's about the storyline anyway.
It's just the dancing, and you can just watch scenes like on YouTube as well as the dancing scenes. The rest is like, fast forward. It's not exactly intellectually or even emotionally stimulating, is it?
That makes for a very short movie. That's for sure, with all the fast forwarding that you're doing. So now, I haven't checked comments because, like I said, I haven't been able to, but do you happen, because we're at 5 o'clock and I don't want to miss anybody. So do you see anybody that's asking anything or something we should address?
Okay, let's see. Beautiful book covers from India. Thank you so much, Joseph.
Aren't they lovely?
He had a British accent. Doug Duke. I so love American accents. India.
India said she loves American accents?
Yeah.
Well, not mine, is it?
It is, isn't it? I mean, I love this, especially the Southern. It's so cute. I mean, when it's like nice. Guys, when they say yes, ma'am, and thank you, ma'am, and
very proper, very, very proper.
They don't make men like that here. No. They don't.
Now you're gonna go. Now you have to write a Southern charm book.
Oh, I've got people like talking like that. Yeah, I don't really put it in it, but that's part like military are trained in police and that, isn't it? Like you watch, well, at least in movies, isn't it? I think in real life it's a bit different.
In real life, a lot of things are real different.
Yeah. But like in Speed, isn't it? I mean, when Keanu Reeves talks to Sandra Bullock and he always says, ma'am, ma'am, and she's like, just call me by my name, you
Oh,
know?
he's very proper, right? He is very proper. So I'm trying to find the comments, but I'm so sorry that I
Okay.
cannot. And
Yeah, I can just read them out quickly. So India says I can do Irish, Liverpool, and Birmingham. Oh, and British Indian as well.
okay, those are the accents she likes.
Joseph says, don't make me do Canadian, eh?
Hey, good A. Oh,
Amen
no,
to
that's
that.
Australian.
Okay, India says Stephanie and Tirza should do their version of Loose Women podcast. Gone with
Don't
the
give
wind.
Tirza any ideas. Don't give Tirza any ideas. I'm losing the light here by the second. Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah, but I mean, it's just I do live readings from my books as well on occasion, you know, and you can find them on YouTube as well. Just look at the playlist on my YouTube channel, Tirza Books.
yes. So
and there's some sexy stuff in there as well. So
give us. I'm sure. Give us a rundown of where we can find you.
So the best way would always be to go to my website, tirzaschaefer.com. You can, if you haven't already done so, sign up to my newsletter. There's a pop-up you can fill in. If not, just close it. Or if you've done it already, you can close that pop-up. Then you go on the header. There's all my social media links. And, you know, wherever you want to go, you can check it out. Just click on it and have a look, you know, whichever platform you like.
I'm going to add them too. I'll add them after this. After we're done here, I'm going to add the links. And I got to say, Tirza, an hour was not enough with you. You are just so amazing. You have so much going on. You're so interesting. And I want to thank you so much. And I just want to let everybody know too, if we didn't, I mean, I know we didn't cover everything. There's a lot. But next week, Tirza, you're doing the indie author interview circuit, right? Next week, you're going to be on.
Yeah. I'm going to be with Beth Wordstow. She's going to interview me, and I'm also going to do, but that's a spiritual thing, in Elisa Millermoon's group for women. And I'm going to talk about goddesses there. So that'll be afterwards on my YouTube channel as well.
That's wonderful. We didn't get to really cover that. So if anybody wants some more information on that, don't forget to tune into that. Yeah. And Tirza, you're such a pleasure. I hope we can do this again.
I was going to say we can come back anytime. I'm happy to. So.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that. I just have to figure out how to read the comments. That is something I have to work on.
Yeah, but don't worry, I'll teach you.
Yes, no, I know, and thank you. I really appreciate that too.
Don't worry, it's okay.
That's another good example of how writers, we're there for each other. At least, we hope the majority is. It's a wonderful community, and you are so supportive to the indies community and just to people in general. You are a wonderful person, and you're doing wonderful things.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be here where I am, anywhere near where I am, if it wasn't for people helping me, So I'm just giving back and paying it forward.
Yeah. Well, not everybody does that.
The flow of where energy is just going to go to hell, everything.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, the energy, the flow of energy, stay positive. We are all connected somehow. And, really, we just have to be kind, really.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tirza. It was a wonderful chat. It was so wonderful to see your beautiful face. And I will see you along on social media.
Absolutely. And I love being here. And can I say I would like you to pick one more person to give a book away to?
Oh, at this very moment?
Yes.
You know what it is? I can't. Oh, Tirza, I can't see, but I can't see the comments. I don't exactly know.
Okay. Let's do it afterwards, and then you can give one more person.
Okay. Unless you can view the comments. You want to see the most.
It's your interview. I want you to pick. So.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because I don't want anybody to think like I'm being.
I got you. So guys, don't forget to check my page after this interview. Let's do within 24 hours. I'm going to pick a winner because we also have a couple of giveaways. I have a couple more things to give away. Some people couldn't join us, so I would like a few more people to watch the recorded interview. Because like I said, we do have the few giveaways, and we also have your ebook up. So I just want to, I just want to make sure that we include everybody. So, Tirza, thank you so much. It was so great. And we'll definitely do it again. And guys, don't forget to check out Tirza next week on the Witty Writer Show with Beth Borsdell.
Yeah, right? I'll be posting it all over the place. So.
Yes, you will. And I'll share it.
You'll see it.
And I'll share it too. That's right. Follow Tirza and I'll share it too. So all right,
and you can also come to my group Tirza's bookstore. There's lots of books there. If you're a writer or somehow in the literary field, you can post your stuff once a day, your books or whatever. We've got like a free review giveaway by the Magic Book Corner.
I love the Magic Book Corner and the wheel. Oh my God, another person who gives back tremendously to the community. I'm so glad you brought that up. She is phenomenal too. Yes, so thank you. Thank you very much, Magic Book Corner.
Absolutely. And she's there, so it's lots of things there going on. And if somebody wants to do live reading from their own work as well, you can just approach me. We'll make out a time, and you can just do that. Some authors are camera shy, and for those, I would offer, if you send me the Word document or something, I can read for you as well.
Wow, that's great.
I love reading out loud. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I even read to myself sometimes.
And the kids probably go, is Mom talking to herself? And they go, oh no, she's just reading out loud.
Exactly.
Well, Tirza, thank you again. And guys, don't forget to follow Tirza on her sites. I'm going to post the links again. Check her out everywhere she is. She's got a lot going on. So, and have a wonderful night, Tirza. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
Right. Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.